Welcome and thank you to everyone choosing to spend part of your day with us. We have a guest who is very accomplished in her area of expertise, and I know you're going to enjoy it, so we won't waste too much time and jump right in. I'm talking to Sarah Zahab, who is a registered kinesiologist, a clinical exercise physiologist, and a veteran of over 25 years in the fitness industry. She has been a nationally ranked race walker and is the 2012 excuse me, and 2014 winner of the Ontario Race Walk Championships at the 5K distance, as well as the 2016 Canadian Indoor National Champion at 3,000 meters. She also has a background in competitive dance, which I found out, but she is here today to talk to us about the benefits of walking and her newly released book, Walk Your Way Fit, Your Guide to Better Health, Wellness, and Vitality. So welcome, Sarah, and thank you so much for spending part of your time.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
So first I have to ask about your career, of course, both as a fitness professional and as a race walk champion. Now, I am a track and field coach, and racing as far as running events is popular in my area, but we don't have race walking in our as an event. I know that our athletes ask about it all the time, but we don't have it as an event in our track and field program. So
time to add it in.
I think we should. I think we'd have some competitors. I'm immediately intrigued because I've seen it. People ask about it all the time. But how did you get into race walking and really take it to the level that you did?
Great question. I always enjoyed walking. I loved walking. I used to teach a lot of power walking classes. And I did a little bit of research and found a local race walking club in my area. The coach had coached a 3-time race walking Olympian and joined the club and just fell in love. And, it took a few years to sort of ease into it, but decided to try some races, and it was just a really great experience.
Okay. Very cool. And what about your career as a fitness professional? Where did that start? How did you decide to make it a career?
So my background is in dance. I started dancing at the age of 3, and I love dance. It was just sort of something I did throughout my youth and teens, and I competed. And I also transitioned to fitness competitions. And, when it came time to decide what to do, kinesiology was just the easy choice for me. I really wanted to be able to find that continuation of, health and wellness, and how do I learn more? And I always wanted to be able to just help people as well. So, getting into this field was just a no-brainer. It felt like a continuation of, what I had been doing all along. And the bonus was really being able to help people along the way and guide them to be able to live their best lives, their healthiest lives.
And part of that, obviously, is, you wrote an entire book about the, about the benefits of walking and ways that you can accomplish your fitness goals. Now, I think most people have at least heard of the standard goal, I guess, of getting around 10,000 steps a day, as sort of a marker of your physical activity. But there are so many benefits to using walking as your form of exercise, and I'll let you talk about those a little bit. What are some of the biggest benefits that you've seen, and what is maybe most interesting about it that maybe you've seen, or just the overall impact that walking can have?
Oh, so many. I mean, walking is just so great for so many different systems in our body, our cardiovascular system, our muscular systems, our lymphatic and circulatory, and, our mental health. There's just so many benefits, but I find having, been in this industry for 25 years, my goal is to always try and get more people active each year. We do have, an epidemic of, obesity and metabolic health conditions, and people are sedentary, and I find walking can be that amazing bridging the gap sort of activity where it gets people moving. And what's really critical when we're starting to create and dive into a physical activity regime is being consistent. And walking is just one of those ways where it allows us to be consistent. It's easy. We don't have to think about it. It's convenient. It doesn't require a lot of equipment or special tools. And for those who are already active, it can be a great way to cross-train. And for those who really enjoy walking, you can always take it to that next level. Not that you have to be a race walker,
Right.
but certainly increasing your walking speed and pace and adding intervals and hills can make it more interesting. It's gentle on our joints. And I just find it can be a great option for many people, whether you're just starting out and looking to create a very consistent exercise program, or you're looking to build it into your overall plan. Maybe you're already strength training and you're doing a lot of high impact activity. Walking can be that great balance where we balance everything out, can help with recovery, and just our tissues overall. So that was a pretty loaded question.
No, that it was an excellent answer though. And something I'm thinking about is, gosh, it was probably about a month ago now when I was on vacation, and we spent every morning, first thing, went to the beach, got in a 3 mile walk on the beach. And I realized how much better I felt after I did that. Now, of course, I still was able to go to the gym, do some strength training, but starting my day walking, now some of it might have been the fresh water and the sun and the sand and all of that too. But I didn't realize how much better I would feel just by getting in that walk to start my day.
Yeah, when you're outside, you're getting the sun exposure, the light exposure, which is great for, resetting our circadian rhythms and vitamin D, and just giving us that overall mental boost. We know that walking outdoors has so many benefits. It boosts our creativity. It gives us that mental reset. So when we're looking for some fresh ideas, if you're walking barefoot, connecting with the sand, we have that grounding element as well, connecting with nature. There's just, so much value in it.
What are some of the challenges that some people might face in trying to get in that exercise? Like I mentioned, I mean, it was really easy for me when I was at the beach just to go out and get in a walk. But I mean, our schedules might, day to day with work might kind of limit us a little bit. Maybe the city or the area that we live in kind of restricts that. So what would you say as a response to maybe some of the challenges that people face in thinking that they can't get in a good walk?
That's a great question. And it's a barrier that a lot of people face. A lot of my clients face, a lot of people experience these challenges when it comes to trying to prioritize exercise and trying to make it work into our schedules. And, my answer is always like, start small. If it's the middle of your workday and you're just getting kind of bogged down, go outside, 10 minutes, fit in a short walk. Maybe it becomes sort of stacked in with other activities. When you're already doing a call or a meeting, maybe you can walk and talk. There's always opportunities. If the weather is a barrier, it's too hot, too cold, we can find some indoor areas to walk. If it's snowy in the winters, we can look for some clear paths, or heading into some indoor spaces that are safe. And also, I think it's important to find the primary driver of what motivates you. Like, are you someone who enjoys working out with a friend? Maybe you set a time to walk after dinner with a friend consistently. Maybe you're someone who's, focused and driven by goals, like sign up for a 5K walk. Really look back historically, what has worked best for you and when have you been the most consistent and the most successful? And think of those parameters and maybe implement those into your new sort of goals and strategies.
How have you seen maybe technology kind of impact our ability, or at least our mindset as far as walking? I honestly didn't have a smartwatch until a couple years ago, and to be honest, I didn't care about how many steps I was getting, and now I see that, and maybe a little bit of it's mental, but I can see how many steps I'm taking, and I guess that sometimes affects like my mood. Maybe if I realize that I haven't got in that much activity. I know some people might have, walking pads in their office just to kind of stay active there. So those are only two examples, but how have you seen kind of technology kind of impact that?
Well, I mean, it has shifted a lot over the last 25 years. I mean, I distinctly remember a conversation with a client who was telling me, I don't know, 15, 17 years ago, she was saying, these wearables, she was telling me about these wearables, just like, they are going to take over. And I was like, okay. But yeah, I think especially if you're someone who is numbers driven or data driven, having the access to the technology is very important for that type of individual where the numbers are important, seeing the statistics. So if that is something that is important to you, using these devices to your advantage. I think maybe for some it can be a little bit all-consuming for those who maybe have, it can be a little bit too much for some individuals, and but the technology is there for us, and I think if it suits your personality and it helps you to obtain your goals in a safe and healthy manner, amazing. And I think there's just no end to it. Like it is going to be transforming, our lives going forward. Like there's just going to be more and more to come.
Yep, it seems like something new is always coming out that we can kind of lean on, or at least use that as a measuring stick to keep track of everything. So I think when a lot of people think about walking, whether that's, just to kind of relieve the stress from the day or going out for exercise, we look at it as just moving. I mean, we walk everywhere that we have to go, but I guess what are some of the specific things that you look at in terms of whether you're walking for competition or exercise or whatever you're doing it for, as far as like form and technique that we should really watch out for?
So with walking, there are a few things that we want to, and there are many ways to sort of walk well. Like there isn't one perfect way to walk. We all have a very unique gait, sort of pattern. And for most people, it's not an issue. But if you're someone who's experiencing a little bit of pain or discomfort, or you're looking to increase that overall efficiency, we are looking at a couple of things in terms of technique. We want to ensure that you're landing with your center of mass over your base of support so that you're not overstriding. So that means landing with your center over your base, over your foot, and not taking too big of a step. We find that a lot of people find when they want to walk faster and more intensely, they start to take larger strides. We think that this is the solution. We need to take a bigger step, but this alters our gait mechanics, and it can place a little bit of extra load in the lumbar spine, lumbar area. I always encourage people to try this, like get out there, take exaggerated big steps and see how that feels on your low back, and then shorten the stride. We always start by shortening our stride first to ensure that we're landing optimally. We really also want to make sure that we have our sort of diaphragm stacked over our pelvic floor, like our ribs are stacked over our hips. We're not in a rib flare, which can also create a little bit of extra discomfort in the low back. And also ensuring that we have that stacked alignment allows us to optimize the use of our transverse abdominals or our deep core muscles. So when we're optimally stacked, we can utilize these muscles without really having to think about them. And then we're also looking at arms swing. We're not crossing our body. We're not bringing the arms too high. We're keeping a bit of a tight arm position when we're increasing our speed. Short strides, optimal alignment, and a tight arm position are probably what we look for to start.
I know in the book, and you started to mention it a little bit, people think of maybe walking for exercise, but we can also use it for recovery. Maybe some people are recovering from an injury. They use it kind of in the rehab process. So can you kind of talk about that and the benefits there that people can use it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think adding in some sort of, movement post-workout, depending on what you've been doing, can help with assisting in that recovery process. Flushing things out, encouraging a bit of a warm down, maybe preventing stiffness and soreness post-workout, and just encouraging us to feel a little bit better. And if we're waking up sort of stiff and sore the next day, the walk can also help with alleviating some of that stiffness and soreness post-workout. So, there are many different ways to incorporate the walk in, whether we're using it as our primary source of physical activity or as a recovery tool. There's advantages to both.
Okay. So you've been in the space for a little bit. What are some of the misconceptions that you might have seen or heard in terms of walking for fitness, or maybe that recovery process that we just talked about?
I think a lot of the biggest question is, does walking count? Like, does it really count? It's just walking. Does it really help? And I think that the answer can be yes and no. It depends. It depends on, your overall fitness plan, how much you're doing, how fast you're going. If all of your walks are slow and, at a slower pace, maybe that isn't what's best for you. However, if you are someone who's sedentary and just starting out, then that can be the perfect solution and the best way to integrate into a more moderate to vigorous exercise plan. If it's something that you enjoy and that you're able to do it consistently, then you're going to see results. And there are always ways to increase the speed and the intensity. Not that you have to be a race walker, but I mean, race walking is an Olympic sport, and
right.
these athletes are walking 5 kilometers in under 20 minutes. It's always interesting when we talk about walking and does it count, but then when you see these people increasing, walking fast, I think there's a lot of value in that too. So that's probably one of the big misconceptions is, does it really count? And my answer is, yeah, it can. Absolutely.
Something you just mentioned there, and within the book, you do have, kind of sample programs, workout programs that people can look at to, kind of get moving a little more. In terms of someone that is maybe a little more sedentary and wants to start moving more, wants to use walking for exercise, what are some recommendations that you would give them to get started?
My advice is always really to start slow, yet remain consistent. The people who have been the most successful, in my experience, have been the ones who start small and just progress slowly over time, but they never stray. I mean, they rarely sort of stray off course. So if walking is something that you enjoy, do it for 10 minutes, 3 times a week, see how you feel, keep that going, and then you can slowly add a few minutes each week. We don't want people to sort of start off by thinking they need to do a half marathon in order to reap the benefits, especially if you're someone who's new to exercise. I think it's really important to sort of ease into things slowly, to allow your body to adapt, to allow your tissues that time for adaptation. There's just something to say for just that slow progression, but remaining consistent. And, over time, I found that these are the individuals who have completely transformed their lives over the months and years by continuing to add things on slowly.
Okay, great. And what about someone who already, like you kind of mentioned, maybe they're already working out and exercising maybe 2 to 3 days a week, but they're looking for something more and really want to, use this as an option to add into their workout. Why should they incorporate walking into their workout, and what recommendations would you have to maybe challenge themselves a little more because they are already exercising consistently?
Well, I'm a little biased because I think walking is great, but I mean, realistically, any physical activity that allows you to remain consistent and it's something that you enjoy is the one that you should be doing over and over again. I mean, if someone doesn't like running, I'm not going to encourage them to run. But walking is typically accessible, it's doable, it's convenient, and it just works for many people. But yeah, I think, start to think about, are there variables that you can change within your walk to make it a little more intense? Can you walk a little bit faster while still maintaining the technique? Can we add some variability with regards to terrain? You talked about walking on a sandy beach that is going to challenge the intrinsic muscles of the feet and sort of change the emphasis a little bit. Finding hills, doing some hill repeats. Many people are often surprised how challenging doing hill repeats can be. So looking at different variables to add that extra intensity.
Okay, perfect. And if you could go into maybe some of the sample workouts that you have within the book, because I think it really does give great insight into exactly how you can use this to, progress your own fitness. I was impressed on the different levels that you actually included, whether, I don't know if I would, challenge myself necessarily to walk a half marathon or walk a full marathon like that, but it sounds challenging for sure. So can you go into some of those programs that you talk about in the book?
I mean, there is a half marathon walking program, but there is also, a 20-minute walk, a 15-minute
Yeah.
walking plan. And there are options for various fitness levels. We have beginner, intermediate, advanced walking plans, and it's all sort of laid out. If you're training for a 5K, we have, sort of 10, 12-week, 8-week plans, sort of spaced out. And it's all really sort of broken down week by week, how, just some suggested sort of walking times, how you would cross train. So yeah, I mean, there's hill walks, there's intervals, there's the 5, 10 and half marathon training plans.
Yeah.
My mother tested out the 10K plan. She did a 10-kilometer race. She's 74,
Wow.
and followed it and, felt great at the end. And yeah, so there's something for everybody.
Definitely. So I want to go back to you mentioned race walking, and I know that you competed in that, and I'm sure some of our listeners are interested too. Could you go through kind of what that process is, how competitive that actually is, and kind of some of the rules that go along with it? I know, like I mentioned, some of my athletes are asking about it all the time, so I want to hear from the expert here exactly what all that entails.
Mm-hmm. Well, race walking is an Olympic sport. So it is a sport where you are being judged on your race walking technique, and there are indoor and outdoor races. And at the Olympics, we see the 20 and 50K race walks, but there are a number of sort of national level, 3,000 meter races, 5,000 meter races, and so in terms of the technique, we're looking and ensuring we're ensuring that one foot remains in contact with the ground at all times. So it is not running. And if you are caught in violation of this rule, it is a lifting rule. You will be assigned a red card. And after a certain number of violations, then you're, you either have a pause or you're disqualified from the race. So there are two primary rules. One foot must remain in contact at all times, and the striking leg must be straight. So when you are stepping forward, that leg remains straight, so there isn't a bent knee until it passes the midline of the body. So once you've landed and you've gone past the midline, then you can bend the knee and circle it around again. But we're landing with a straight leg, and we're ensuring that we always have one foot in contact with the ground. And there are judges throughout the course that are paying attention to technique and ensuring that no one is in violation of these rules.
Sounds pretty intense. There's so much that goes into it. Yeah, but it sounds like much more nuanced than just walking. Like I'm sure a lot of people unfamiliar with the sport probably look at it. But no, that's very intriguing, very interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. It is fun, and sometimes we get laughed at, but it's a great sport.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting to me. So, yeah, I feel like our time has gone by pretty fast here, but I do want to thank you so much for your time. I enjoyed the conversation, learning more about it, learning more about your book, and I know that everyone listening has too. If you haven't got your copy yet of Walk Your Way Fit, it's available on the Human Kinetics website, us.humankinetics.com, as well as Amazon. I'm sure a number of bookstores as well. Probably a list too long for me to mention right now. But in the book, like we talked about, Sarah talks about the benefits of walking and so much more. It includes 10 warm-up drills, 11 cool-down stretches, 16 exercises with color photos and demonstrations, 12 workouts, 8 race training plans that Sarah discussed a little bit there, 5K, 10K, and half marathon. So much information, so many benefits to walking. I know that, like I mentioned, I personally feel better when I get in a good walk every day, get in the number of steps that I feel like I need to get to kind of, justify that activity. So again, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And I will, again, give you the last word here. Please give us a good take-home message here and let everyone know where they can follow you to keep up with all the great information you're putting out.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Aaron. Yeah, just keep walking, keep moving, and people can find me at Continuum Fit on Instagram. And yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity.